Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Malty Monday. We are going to concentrate on the German Eisbock tonight, but this was kind of a difficult find for a lot of folks. So we do have a bunch of people down in the basement. So after we go through our Eisbock, we're the three that have an Eisbock. We'll be bringing everybody else up to do whatever beer that they brought. I do believe we have some doppelbocks and different other variations of different brews. So it'll be an interesting night. But let's go ahead and get on with this. Right now, on my panel, I have Anthony from Anthony from Life is Beautiful, and Thomas Middle 75.
Hello,
Eric. So, and myself, Jesse from Bumpy Road. First thing I'm going to do is just bring up the BJCP guideline here. I'm just going to read through that real quick. It's not really that long, so be nice and quick. And then I'll pass it over to Life is Beautiful to give a deeper analogy of the Eisbock. So let's go ahead and share the screen.
Oh, ready? All right.
Well, here we go. So get the overall impression. It's a strong, full-bodied, rich and malty dark German lager, often with a vicious quality and viscous. Sorry, not vicious. Viscous quality.
It's vicious too. It's vicious.
And strong flavors. Even though flavors are concentrated, the alcohol should be smooth and warming, not burning. Skip down to the comments on it. It says extended lagering is often needed post-freezing to smooth the alcohol and enhance the malt and alcohol balance. Pronounced Eisbock.
Okay.
History, short history here. It says a traditional comeback, comeback specialty brewed by freezing a doppelbock and removing the ice to concentrate the flavor and alcohol content, as well as any defects.
Oh,
yes. Normally ABVs you're going to find around 9% to 14%. And look how difficult this is to find. I mean, they only list one commercial example. So I don't fault anybody that's in the basement right now. Stop sharing screen. And we'll move over to Life is Beautiful. He'll give us a little more in-depth history, and then he'll go over his Eisbock.
Yep. All right. So the history behind the Eisbock is a little bit confusing because there's obviously some truth to it, but there's a lot of legend and a lot of lore behind its creation as well. So I tried to encapsulate it the best way I could. So as Bumpy said, an Eisbock is a traditional German specialty strong beer made by partially freezing a doppelbock and then removing the ice water through a process known as ice distillation to leave behind the concentrated flavor with alcohol, which is then packaged and sold as an Eisbock. Because of this distillation, it removes all the unnecessary ingredients, aka water. And because of that, the Eisbock is commonly regarded as the true essence of beer. So the origins of Eisbock have been blurred so significantly that it's more of a legend at this point than a true historical documentation. What we do know for a fact is that it was likely first created and served in 1890 in the North Franconian town of Kulmbach, Germany, from the Kulmbach brewery. And according to legend, the invention of the Eisbock was a complete accident. The story says a young apprentice at the Kulmbach brewery was really tired and was feeling a little kind of lazy after a long day of hard work. He was supposed to transport several barrels of doppelbock beer from the brewery to the cellar. However, he decided to leave them outside like halfway through, and he was like, I'll take care of this in the morning. Unfortunately for him, a pretty vicious, pretty brutal cold front moved in. Temperatures dropped below freezing, and it caused all the water in the barrels to turn to ice.
oh yeah.
The wood barrels couldn't handle that much pressure, so they kind of exploded, leaving this cylindrical barrel-shaped ice cube, basically, with the remaining beer left on the inside. Obviously, the master brewer was furious, so he believed that the Bock beers had been completely rendered undrinkable, and as punishment, he demanded his apprentice to crack open the ice cubes and drink the remaining beer.
Yes.
Doesn't sound like too much of a punishment, but at that time they didn't know. So when the apprentice took his first sip, he found it highly intoxicating and incredibly flavorful, with so much malt characteristics, so much sweetness going on. And despite the fact that he was obviously getting like drunk off his face, he still thought it was an insanely delicious beer. And very fortunately for him, the brewmaster agreed, and that made the Eisbock an annual tradition at the Kalmbach Brewery ever since. And from there, it just spread on out. So, like I said, it's very interesting history, a little confusion on the true origin of it, but moving on. So, the beer that I have, I'm going to pop it open. Not even a hiss coming out of it. This is the Schorsch Eisbock 13. It is from the Schorschbrau Brewery down close to Nuremberg, Germany. And one of the things that makes this brewery so special and this beer so special is that this process, this brewery, is currently the world record holder for making the strongest beer on the planet, coming in at 57%, which is just a further distilled version of this beer. So let's go ahead and pour it in the glass. I think this is going to blow y'all's mind. It's technically marketed as a dark Eisbock, so it's going to be jet black, but you can see it's just pouring completely flat, almost still, except for a couple little dark khaki bubbles.
Oh, wow.
And I definitely, at the end, when we go back around, I'm going to show you on my glass and just show how much it sticks to it and stains it. But this one's coming in at, where is it at? There we go. 13% ABV. All right. So appearance, as I said, it is jet black. There's almost no bubbles at all, except for that little wispy ring at the top. And I think that's mostly just from the agitation being poured into the glass. Jet black all the way throughout, but if you hold it up to the light, you do get some more caramel tones, so it does make it seem a little less terrifying. All right, so my least favorite part of this beer has always been its nose. The nose displays a lot of characteristics that you would typically find in a stout that are unappealing. So you got a little bit soy sauce going in there. You get a big whiff of strong booze, but followed behind that, you start getting the nicer tones. You do get a little chocolate, a little roastiness. You get a little caramel, a lot of your like brown sugar type flavors, so toffee and even some maple syrup and honey. All right, let's get into it. Time for everybody's favorite part, the taste.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, man. All right. So I have to talk about the mouthfeel real quick before we get into that flavor. It is so thick, so heavy, so viscous on the tongue that it almost feels like you're drinking like a slightly watered down chocolate syrup. That's how thick and crazy it is. Absolutely still. The best part of this is even as strong as it is, you're not getting any type of like alcoholic glow in the chest or stomach. Usually in these higher beers, I'm pretty susceptible to a physical burn. Not at all found here. But that taste, it reminds me if you took a couple shots of espresso, swirled some honey in there, and then threw a little bit of like those caramel square candies in it. It is just incredibly sweet. Absolutely no presence of alcohol. So it masks it. It hides that high ABV very well. Additionally, I would say that it almost has a bourbon barrel type characteristic to it because you're getting some honey, you're getting that vanilla, you're getting that toasty character that you would typically find in a bourbon aged beer, but it all mixes and swirls together and it just blends together fantastically. Although I will say if you have any cavities, this one might put you in the hospital because it is so sweet. It's certainly cloying, but absolutely phenomenal beer. Love it. It is if you're able to get on Amazon DE, you can just order these and they'll ship them to you. So fantastic beer. And yeah, it's a little bit different than your typical Eisbock, but it's great.
Awesome. I've never had an Eisbock, so I am looking forward to it. Sounds really good. I will be getting to it shortly, right after we go to Thomas Metal. I do want to say cheers to the chat. And thank you guys for all joining in. As I stated in that comment right here, we do have a large panel. Everybody has various beers other than the Eisbock, so there will be more folks coming in with different beers. So
Yeah, man. All right, here we go. Mine's not very conventional for an Eisbock. Apologies to that one, but since it's being called such, I can bring it. We got from the Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers. They're in Framingham, Massachusetts. They are the makers of all things lager yeast strain. They do have Springdale, which is upstairs to Jack's Abbey, that do more ales and stuff. But this one is a lager. It's called their bourbon barrel aged Eis maker lager wine. And I'll get to the name lager wine because that's more or less what it is. This is, if you can't even see that, it is 13% alcohol by volume. This is a big boy. 1.9 fluid ounces, and it was 11 and change for the big bottle. They are actually doing this. They're not doing this in the same way that you would do the ice beer. So they said everything on their website, what an Eisbock is, and they're even calling it an Eisbock. And they said, while today's beer, like Ice Maker, is no longer produced this way, it is used as a connotation that the beer is very strong. So Eisbock by traditional in tradition in name, really an Eisbock, it's probably more like a barley wheat or barley lager wine, or like a barley wine using a lager strain of yeast. So in the glass, I'm getting a very dark mahogany red, almost towards the purplish color. And you can see where the lacing is, where I started with the head. It has got some very nice lacing at 13%. Look at that, clean to the glass. Is it hazy? Yeah, you can't really see through it. Not at all. Some carbonation is zinging out of the glass. The smell on this one is definitely the bourbon barrels. I'm definitely getting that coconut, that toasty oak kind of smell, that sweet molasses, that very, very sweet molasses. Almost like a candied sugar, but very sweet molasses. Toasty coconut. The caramel and the toffee is screaming out the glass. They got those big raisin and dark alcohol-soaked cherries in there. I mean, if you like the nose of bourbon and you like the nose of whiskeys and your barley wines, your bigger maltier brews, this could be one to explore, at least on nose. Let's see about there's a taste of the bourbon barrel aged Ice Maker. Cheers.
cheers.
Oh yeah. Ooh, there's a lot of phenolic alcohols that sort of, as it dries, it hits the back of the throat in a vaporous fashion, if that makes any sense. Vaporous phenolic alcohols on that one. But definitely to the style that you read there, BuMpy. It is warming. It's not, doesn't burn whatsoever. It's very chewy malt. I'm getting, again, everything you would get in the bourbon barrels. Your vanilla, your raisins, your dark soaked cherries, plums, lots of toasty coconut, lots of toasty brown bready notes, molasses, toffee, caramel. Just like a really good Doppelbock in the mouth. And then, it's very full body. It thins a little bit when it dries and when you swallow the beer. And at the very end, as it's going down, is when you start to feel all the warmth. It's very, again, does not burn whatsoever from my palate. It just warms a good deal. Again, it's not really a true Eisbock in the sense they didn't brew a Doppelbock and then do the freezing, the ice distillation process. But if you like a really good caramel kind of a flavor to your malts, and you don't mind the bigger, boozier beers, This is actually really good. Again, for the style, highly drinkable, but yeah, 13%. Watch out on that one. This is still a little bit cool, probably more around 40 degrees. Maybe when the bottle starts to warm up a little bit, it'll get a little bit more malty and fruity and more delicious. Hops, no, not really. It's a malt bomb. So far, so good, people. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you very much, Eric. So once again, I want to say thank you to my panel that is here, and the folks that are going to be up on panel soon. We'll hold tight. I'm going to go through mine quickly. We'll get this moving. What I'm bringing is the Snyder Weiss Adventus Aventinus, I guess, Eisbock. Comes in at 12% ABV. This one actually is already aged for me. It is from July 11th, 2018, it looks like. It tastes a nice aged Eisbock. So it has nice khaki colored, tight bubbled head. Color of the beer itself is it's got chunks in it. Interesting. You can all see the chunks, right? Okay, it's very chunky, but it's got a kind of a deep amber to brown coloration of the beer itself. The aromas, yeah, extreme malt, kind of dark fruit notes. It's almost a little bit of like a smoky smell. That deep dark bread notes, kind of the darker fruit notes, kind of almost like prune plum type deal. And there just seems to be like a tad bit of almost like a smokiness, which is weird. But first swig, cheers.
Cheers. Johnson's
wow. Yeah, this is super sweet. Big fruit flavors in this. So it's got the like the darker fruits once again, the plum, prune, raisiny type notes coming through. A little touch of like an apple in there as well. There is kind of this like almost like smoked Gouda type smokiness to it. It's strange. But the malt backbone, big old like dark bread, almost like a rye pumpernickel type breadiness to this one. Very sweet. Alcohol presence. Yeah, not really. I mean, you can kind of tell that it's big, but it doesn't have like a big old alcoholic flavor to it. It's just very, very sweet body on it. Got a pretty rich body. I'm going to say at least higher side, medium, if not going into that full range, almost. Now, just sticky the whole mouthfeel is. It's actually a little bit of like a banana baby food flavor coming up now, or like pear type. But it reminds me of like Gerber baby food a little bit.
Okay.
Yes, it's interesting. It's all malt. There's no like hop presence in this at all.
Is it a clean finish for what it is? I know it is on the sweet side.
Yeah, I'm not left with like any like alcohol notes or anything like that. It just it almost tastes like it's balanced out afterwards. It's not cloying, but it is sticky and sweet. It all works. This is it's really good. I like it. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna go ahead and shout out our scores real quick.
Yeah.
All right. So for mine, I would say that it's delicious. It's not what you expect when you drink an Eisbock. And real quick, I just wanted to show if y'all can see that it's like it's almost crystallizing on the side of my glass. That's how much sugar's in here.
Dang.
And because of that, I'm not a huge fan of super sweet flavors. I enjoy them in a beer, but to a certain degree, I am struggling to even finish this. So because of that, I'll give it a decent score. I mean, I'm talking like 85 to 89 here, higher 80s. It's just a little too sweet for me to give it anything better, but massive layers of flavor. So I like it.
Nice.
Excellent. The Eyes Maker bourbon barrel aged lager wine. That's the key to this one. This is definitely an attempt to brew a barley wine using a lager yeast. And I think, and again, they're using that terminology of the Eisbock just to sort of make the point known that it is a very strong beer right there. So kind of disappointment only in name of the beer. If I'm looking at this as an Eisbock, I don't know if it gets, I don't know. It's not traditional at all. Maybe it's just like a 50 out of 100 overall as an Eisbock because it's not really doing an Eisbock thing at all. But if I had to rate it as a beer overall, I mean, if you want a sort of clean towards the end barley wine, this one's pretty good. At least a 90. I mean, you're getting all the alcohol, you're getting all the booziness up front. Well, you're getting all the booziness when it dries, but it's extremely dry. And just like BuMpy was saying, it's very balanced and it's not leaving much of anything in the mouth, just a little bit of that sticky body from the beer itself. So as a beer overall, it's a 90, but as an Eisbock, it's got to be just a 50 out of 100. It's not even the same as the both of you were describing at all. But nice little marketing ploy, but it's a great beer at 90 out of 100. Oh, yeah.
Nice. So with mine, I'm a sweet guy, as you guys all know. So I do like things on the sweeter side a lot. I do like bitter beers as well. So don't get me wrong, but I'm enjoying this one. I actually like this one more than remember that time that we did the Scotch ales, the wee heavies. I actually prefer this over the wee heavy. This one it has more varying flavors to it. They're all on the sweeter end, but it's just it doesn't come off as like kind of that cloying sweetness. It's strange. It's more like a fructose sweetness or something where it's just not like, you know. So I'm really digging this one. I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 97.
Oh, nice.
100. Yeah, I'm liking it. My first Eisbock ever. So
far so good.
So yeah, it's something I would definitely pick up again. It's going down real easy too, so that's it's dangerous, I would say, because probably 3 of these, drink them probably real quick within a half an hour and
black out and die.
Black out and be silly as heck. But panel that I have right now. Any last words? I'm going to end up dropping you guys down the basement, bringing up the other folks.
Just thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Cheers.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys for coming on. Please stay in the basement. We'll try to.
We're going to do some gospel box next, right? Yeah.
Well, we're going to do the poll. So.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
We'll have to figure out the polling thing. But yeah, if you want to just hang out in the basement or come back, later on, once we get everybody else through, we'll work on that, whether or not we have to stay on StreamYard where we have such a large panel or possibly move over to a Google Hangout just to come up with the polling and stuff like that. Might do. But yeah, I want to appreciate you guys, both of you, for joining up, and congratulations on getting Eisbocks. All right.
Yeah.
So yes, we'll see you guys a little bit later. Thank you both.
The ayes have it.
All right, we got everybody else that was in the basement is now in. So welcome to my new panel. We have directly to me, really my right, but my left on this, miscellaneous magnets. We have John and Nelly, aka Georgia Beer Reviews, but I think he's John and Nelly now, full time. But I think either one of those names, you can find him on the YouTube channel. So, Beer Man.
Hey guys,
welcome in. We got Thrash Metal Homebrew Barbecue, aka Brian, and then we have a newcomer. This guy's never even been on the internet before. Will E. Cap.
I found it being in the basement eerily familiar. When I played sports, I was always in second string, so this is really right at home for me.
Nice. So everybody basically has a different style of beer now. So we're gonna go the same rotation. So miscellaneous, you're gonna go first. I'll bring you up, talk about your beer. If you have any knowledge on the style or whatnot that you brought, please give as much information as possible. And right. I gotta find you in my thing. Hold on. There you are.
All right, guys. So got a German Weizenbach. I'm gonna go ahead and butcher the name again. I actually looked up the pronunciation, but apparently it's still not right. Anthony told me. Beisteffener. Apparently this, I was doing some research and it said that this is the oldest brewery in the world that I guess is still brewing. It's cool. And then this beer, it's a wheat Bock. 2012, this won the best wheat beer on the planet. So I do not know. I know Dio had the Doppelbock that I had, so I'm going to go ahead and roll with this. Smoke on the water, got my big ass glass. I want to make sure I could get it all in there at one shot. Bam. Man, this beer is beautiful looking, man. Nice light color, almost like a lemony, bit hazy. Small, fast rising bubble, got a really nice head to it. 3 fingers, very small, tight knit, almost memory foamy like head. On the nose, getting cloves, banana. Yeah, I'm just getting cloves and bananas. It said I'm supposed to get some apricots in there. Not too sure, so looks great. Let's go ahead and taste it.
Cheers.
Oh man, that's really good. Very clean. Man, this might be one of my new favorite beers, man. Christ. Very banana forward. Get the cloves as well. Similar to a golden monkey, but this is a lot cleaner. The banana tastes a lot more ripe. It's not a, you don't get like a bitter peeliness to it. Sweet, sticks with you the whole time. As light as this beer looks, it has a medium to full body to it. It's very rich. man. There's a lot of tastes coming out in there. It's a little bready. It's got a sweet maltiness to it. I've really jumped out of my realm because I've been trying to stay out of the import aisle, but I might start going down there a bit more, man. This beer is awesome. Glad you had this style. Yeah, this is the Vitus. Oh, crappy lighting. So man, this is really good. Like I said, one of the cleanest tasting beers I've ever had. Refreshing. I've got no complaints, man. Got some legs to it. So, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Right. Now I got to bring this up because this thing is, I don't know who's really next. So we're going to go back to full. Oh, it's going to be John Anelli. Ready?
How do you
One,
pronounce his last name?
2. I say Anelli.
There it is. All right. So I really screwed up.
Never said it
I
was.
got Einstock, which is not an Eisbock. It is actually an Icelandic Arctic berry ale. And upon further inspection, it's actually a white ale brewed with bilberry. So like a Belgian wit almost. Let's see what it says on the side. Refreshing wit beer flavored with tasty bilberries handpicked near the Arctic Circle. It's 5% alcohol. That should have been a giveaway right there. IBUs are not disclosed. I've never had bilberries before, but they smell and taste a lot like blueberries. This smells a lot like Sweetwater Blue, which is just a blueberry ale from Sweetwater out of Atlanta, Georgia. I drink it quite often. That's pretty much what this smells like. So if anybody knows the difference between bilberries and blueberries, please tell me because I don't. And this smells just like a blueberry wheat ale. Some nice wheat bready notes on the aroma as well. That's pretty much all I'm getting. It's definitely fruit forward though on the aroma. All right, there is the appearance is like a clear golden color, but there is a little bit of sediment on the bottom and kind of floating around, but it is clear. It's not a hazy beer. All right, and it did pour with a nice head. That's died down since I poured it, but there is some splotchy lacing there left behind on the glass. All right, cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers, John.
Cheers.
Very light-bodied. The bilberry, not bilberry, that sounds ridiculous to say. The bilberry notes are coming through quite nicely. It's very fruity. You got some nice wheat bread notes in the middle of the sip. It's super light-bodied, effervescent, nice carbonation with it. The finish is crisp, clean, refreshing, dry. 5% alcohol. You could drink these bad boys all day. I think I actually prefer Sweetwater Blue because this one drinks like a light beer. I'm not sure what the calorie count in here is, but I would say maybe like 95 to 110 calories. There's just really not a lot of substance to this beer. It's good. It's not blowing my socks off. I can and have had the Aventinus. I can't talk. Aventinus beer that BuMpY had from Schneiderweiss, but I couldn't find it today, and I didn't even realize it was an Eisbock. Usually it doesn't say Eisbock on the label, so they must have updated their label recently, or maybe because you have the smaller bottle, I'm not sure. But usually when I see it, it's in the big, like maybe 22-ounce bomber bottles. I don't know what size yours was, BuMpY, but anyway, this is a good beer. It's a little too light-bodied, really, for what I like to drink normally, but it does have some really good berry notes, some bready notes in the middle, and it's very clean, crisp, refreshing, and easy going. So there you go.
Awesome. Oh, Bearman, you're going to be next. You know, I just realized we're missing somebody. Drunken One was in the basement. Apparently, he escaped. So that's who's not here. But we're gonna bring up Beer Man now to go over the beer that Pete brought for tonight.
APB for Sparky.
Hey, BuMpY, thank you very much, man. It's always fun being here. I just found out that mine's actually an Eisbock.
What?
That's what the E means for ice, I think. And I saw it and I was all EKU. It's got to be something like that. And then some people said it was on reviews said it was a Doppelbock. So it's 11%. It's a EKU 28 unfiltered 11% at a bearish whatever the hell. Imported by Shelton Brothers, product of Germany. It's a malt liquor. Yeah. So I had one earlier, but I'm not gonna tell you. We'll we'll go over it here. It was crazy. Put it that way. It was crazy. Well. All right. So got about almost a 3-finger head. It's very caramel and toffee, caramel toffee in the nose. Very sweet. Dark fruits, plum, maybe some plum. Before I got fig, but I'm thinking more on the plum side or even like a dark grape, some kind of dark fruit. Very sweet and caramel and toffee forward. Got an off-white head, almost like a light tan or a light orange tinge to it. It's very copper colored. It is a little bit somewhat, well, it's a medium to fast rising bubble. You can see shadows, but you can't see detail. It already has a nice lining that's like an invisible lining. I don't know. I don't know the descriptor for that, but I guess just some kind of like oily resininess on the side. Retentions seems to be fairly good. It's down to a finger now. Let's go.
Are you talking legs, Steve?
Well, the leg, like I guess the oily or the resiny, like a thin stickiness. Yeah, like floating down the sides. It's really interesting.
It's a pretty beer, though.
It's a pretty beer, definitely. Oh, whoa, man! That's like taking in a way. It's like taking a shot of alcohol. It's not boozy at all. It's got heat. There's heat, but you know how you take a shot and you got to take it fast, or it'll kind of make you kind of like taking too much mayonnaise in the throat. Or I was explaining this earlier, just like that, kind of like
the gag reflex.
Yeah, it's dry. Like it's kind of a longer finish, and it dries out down in the center here. And it's very you get plum, you get like a dark grape or something. I don't know. You get your caramels, your toffees, and the flavor. All like that coating on the side of the glass is what's coating my mouth, and all around my palate, all around my tongue. And then it finally dries off, kind of going down the waterfall, let's call it, the esophagus, and then it starts to dry midway. It's very sweet and it gets boozy. Actually, if you leave it in your mouth, the fumes will start to rise up. It's very strong, very sweet, definitely a dessert or a sipper. Very interesting. Not one of my favorites, but very interesting. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
I didn't say what the body and the mouthfeel was.
Body is
it's like a, let's go with just medium to maybe fullish. It's just kind of thick and hearty, like a thick bread. And the mouthfeel is very smooth, clean, and sweet, though. Very thick and lathering. There you go. Cheers.
Like mayonnaise. Awesome.
Like mayonnaise.
Just don't keep it in your mouth too long.
Nope.
Oh, so next we're gonna move on to thrash metal homebrew. Oh, you had my wife gagging, beer man. When you said
Oh,
like just shot a mayo in the throat, she was like, "Oh, that's nasty."
Have this, and you'll know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
So
I
we're
saw
gonna
it
move
on
on
your
to
face
thrash.
as soon as you took it, man. It was like, ooh, somebody put another nail in his coffin. That was awesome.
That's made my beard get bigger, I think.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Homebrew time, people. So this is a little twist that I do on white IPA that I make. It's usually very clear. It's like a Hefeweizen. It's not really clear because it's got oats. It's got some good Dexter malt in it. This is what I call the Super Bowl white IPA. I did this on the weekend of the Super Bowl and did a 10-gallon batch, and this thing came out to a 7.2%. What I did with it is this had 21 pounds of 21 pounds of 2-row pale malt. We got 2 pounds of Carapils Dexter malt, 4%, which is 1 pound of caramel Crystal 40. That's the little thing that I did because it kind of gave it that caramel color. It gives it a real caramelly taste too. Gives it a bit more body too. And then 1/2 pound of flaked oats in here, which really helps with the Dexter malt on giving good lacing, good head. So cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So you can see it's very effervescent. It's been kegged, not bottled. Use Simcoe hops for the bittering hop, and for the flavor and aroma hops, is Simcoe Mosaic. So two of my favorites. So it's actually very light on the palate. It's not overwhelming, but the caramel does cut and give it a little oomph, so you get that kind of a chewiness just a little bit from the caramel in here. So it is, you can't see through it, so it's a bit murky, which is fine. As you drink these with flaked oats in it, they'll never completely clear. So a pairing that this would go with would be something very, very light, like I don't know, like maybe some light fish of some sort, some halibut maybe. It actually go with anything. It goes good with air too. So cheers, guys.
Cheers.
And in the back area, I got 10 gallons of the COVID quarantine lime Hefeweizen. That baby's cranking right now.
Sounds awesome.
You just brewed that yesterday, right?
Yes, sir. And if you go to my channel, you can check out the brew day from yesterday.
It's a nice brew day. He had some nice lime zest there.
Nice lime zest.
Paul wants to know what kind of yeast you used, Brian.
That was the WLP. Oh, on this one or the Hefeweizen? This one was, I think, just Safel US05. Yep. Hefeweizen was a WLP 380, which is the German Hefeweizen ale yeast.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, geeking out on the homebrew.
I think we got one more panel member coming up now. Will E. Kepley. Killing me, Smalls.
Awesome T-shirt, by the way.
It's the bottom of the 9th inning. I've been brought in from the basement to try to earn the save. So the beer I have tonight is a rather pedestrian effort compared to some of the more elite status brews that you guys had. But anyway, one thing it does share is a malt forward quality, a sweet maltiness. I have the Molson Triple X.
I don't know if I've ever had the Triple X.
No, it's like the triple seckies.
I've seen it, but I don't think I've ever picked it up.
The name itself conjures up many images. But Molson Coors product, 7.3% alcohol by volume, 201 calories per 12-ounce serving. And this one is brewed, I'm looking at the bottom of the can here. The code date is brewery number 8 is Trenton, Ohio. So that's where this one was brewed at. And I've got some neuropathy in my hand, so it's a little safer if I pour mine in the kitchen. So I'll be back in just a moment. I've got a little more room there to deal with it.
Cheers. Yeah.
In case I had a spill, but I think it'll be okay.
All right. We'll bring it back. We'll just go to panel right now.
Give him a couple rubber bands to put around his wrist, hold the can.
Yeah. There you go.
I never.
How are you guys holding up?
I gotta tell you, mine's not an Eisenbach. Eisbock, I mean, excuse me.
Oh, it's not. All right, so we did it right with not putting you in the first.
Yeah, no, we're good. One place says Eisbock and the others say don't. So
forgot to say the APV on mine is it's 7.7.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
not bad at all.
No.
That's my favorite beer from Von Stefaner's, the Vitus. That's really good
This
stuff.
is really awesome beer, man.
That and they make another one called the Corbinian, which is a little bit darker and full bodied than that one. That one is really good as well if you ever see it.
So BuMpy,
the chunks were yeast.
Yeah. I wanted to
drink
tell
it?
you.
Yeah.
When you showed the bottle with the purple label Aventina, I have a label from the 80s that I got from one of the bottles that I brought home. I was looking for it. I can't find it, but I do remember every time I freaking open up a bottle, you had those flake cakes of the yeast, man.
Yeah.
And that's a really good beer, man.
I was not expecting that. I was expecting a nice clear brew, but Kepley is back. Let's go ahead and let him present his Molson XXX.
Has a nice, rich golden color, a little bit darker than some of the American adjunct lagers. Straight, aggressive pour. Nice 3-finger head here. It's sort of a little bit soapy, a little bit memory foam, a little combination for the suds in it. And on the nose, as you expect, nothing complex. This is not a complex product, but pale malt. Only maybe just a little undercurrent of a little bit of hoppiness for balance in the background, but what hits you is the pale malt. And I suspect with a little bit darker color of this beer, they may use a little bit of the caramel malt in the recipe too. And sometimes with these these adjunct lager types, they even put in a dash of the dark black malt. Not enough to really notice, but so cheers tonight, and I'll take a sip into it.
Cheers, William.
Cheers.
The sweet malty hits right away at the beginning of the sip, and just follows straight on through. This is sort of a one-note beer. Like I said, it's not complex. It's not like the Eisbock you guys drink, where when you take a sip, it's like a parachute of flavors develop. That's not the case with this. But for what it is, I enjoy it. This is really more like an amped up Miller High Life, Budweiser, Schlitz, Coors, etc. If you like those beers, but you just want a little bit more of a punch, a little more alcohol, a little more flavor, this is a sort of a natural extension of a beer like that. And I enjoy it. It's like I said, look at the lace, some very nice Picasso-like lacing, very beautiful. And I'll take another sip here. One thing hits me on this one is that this is sort of it's called a super premium beer. It's a malt liquor. This sort of hits a sweet spot between the lower end malt liquors at 5.5% to 6%, and the higher ones that get in the 8% category. This one sort of hits a middle ground between those in the fact that it's sweet, but it's not that cloyingly sweet like you get with some of the other higher gravity malt liquors. So that's I think something would be put in the positive category for it. And like I say, I like regular beers, RABs, and to me this is just like I said, an extension of that. A little more flavor, a little more of a medium mouthfeel as opposed to the light, watery mouthfeel that you get with the Budweiser Miller High Life in the 4.5 to 5% ABV range. And so I think it's pretty good.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
I went and grabbed a Coors Bank.
Yeah. All right.
Needed something a little bit lighter after the 12%er there.
To wash it down. What are you talking about?
Yeah, to wash down the thickness. So we're on to scoring or just final thoughts of the beers. So just go across the way that we were first presented. So miscellaneous.
All right. So I looked on Beer Advocate. This beer was rated number 2. It had a score of 98, which is a world-class score. For a wheat, I'll do it one better, and I'll give it 100 out of 100. This beer is freaking awesome, man. I really like it. Enjoyed it. About done with it. It was a 24-ounce bottle. So other than that, I mean, it's really good. BuMpy, this might be up your alley. I mean, because you said you like the Golden Monkey. This is a very similar style tasting beer, but a lot cleaner. Phenomenal. If you guys can run across it, get it, try it. This was not a break the bank beer. I think I paid $4 for this bottle.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cheers,
yeah,
guys.
I've run the gamut on the Stefana brews. So yeah, I've had that one at one point in my life. Yeah, I've liked
really
Molly,
good.
even their crystal.
Like I
Vice
said,
and-
for a wheat beer though, this is a lot hazier than I'd expected, for sure. This has more of an IPA look to it, like a juice bomby look. But you do get the fruits in there. I'm seeing a light sediment, but anyways, this shit's awesome. Thanks for having the oddball picks, and I couldn't get mine, but cheers anyways,
well,
man.
Yeah,
Took me on
if I
something
run
different.
if I run into these issues where it's like nobody can really find it, probably end up being almost like a wild card for the most part. So if you can't find a brew, and a lot of other people can't, don't fret.
Kind of disappointed
show
Gio
will-
went
show
out
will go on.
because I
If you
wanted to
can't
see.
find the brew, then screw you.
That's right.
Freaking BuMpy likes the Golden
I think
Monkeys
I'm
up his
gonna
alley.
go ahead and cut though, guys. You guys have a great evening. Thanks, BuMpy, for having me. Great to see all you guys.
Yeah, you too, Miscellaneous.
Have a
Cheers,
great
man.
evening.
Cheers, man.
Cheers,
Cheers,
guys.
Mr. Lee. Thank you for joining in, and
Absolutely. Hopefully I'll
don't
see you
let the
next week.
mosquitoes and stuff get you.
It's nice out.
Okay, no mosquitoes yet.
So my beer, the Eisbock Bilberry White L, is good. I'm going to give it an 89 out of 100. It's a good wheat beer. Bilberries taste almost exactly like blueberries. That's what it just tasted like, a blueberry wheat ale, but it was a little bit too light bodied and watery. I wish it had a little bit more substance to it and a little bit more alcohol, 5%. If they had amped up the body and the ABV to like 6.5, it would have really been killer. But it was good. So 89 out of 100. It's definitely worth a try if you can find it. It's kind of an obscure beer, Icelandic beer, but it was good. So 89 out of 100. And I've already moved on to Flamingo Banana. So
Banana.
A flamingo banana. It's like a type of bathing suit, isn't it?
I don't know what it could be. I don't know.
Ooh.
All right.
All
Cheers,
right.
John.
It's Mayo time with Bear Man.
Mayo time.
You got some in your beard.
Yeah. So that was definitely like a sugary stickiness on the rim of the glass, let's say. Because my lips are sticky from drinking this. It's the same kind of feeling that I'm sure the side of the glass feels. It definitely it gives you all the flavors and the looks and everything that it's supposed to be. It's definitely a Doppelbock. I kind of went through it and was looking. One place says it's this Eisbock, and the other like 3 or 4 people say it's a Doppelbock. So it's definitely Doppelbock. At 11%, it's a pretty strong beer. It gets boozier as it warms up, as do a lot of. That's what it seems like. You start to get the fumes going up the nose, and it's nice. It's a sipper beer. It's definitely tastes better when you take small sips, like very quick sips. Just nothing big. Don't chug it, and it actually tastes okay. It's out of 100. I would per style, I'd give this probably even a 90, 95. Per my liking, probably about an 80, 75, 80, just because it's not something I can take down. So might even go lower than that, but I'll stick with 75. 75.
Cool.
So cool. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, when it comes to my homebrew, I don't rate them. I can just explain what they taste like, and I leave it to those that get the homebrew, which there's BuMpY's gotten some of my homebrew. John's going to be getting some, but I don't rate my beers because they're kind of they're close to your heart. You don't want to sit there and they're like your kids. You don't want to tell which one's the favorite. You just don't want to do it. They're all A's, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I felt the same way about my kids there, that they're all A's. Will, comes down to you and how you feel about that XXX.
As I'm drinking it here, one nice thing about this, and it maybe is missing in some of the higher gravity malt liquors, is that there's actually a little bit of a lingering bitterness in this that hangs around, which is really nice. Sort of a surprise but for this style, for what it is, and the bar is pretty low for these beers. I mean, this is not, in the category of some of these other beers. I got to say it's a 95, a solid A for the style. One thing is I do have a frame of reference that I have drank quite a few of these beers. So, I may be a little more qualified to rate this than I would be some of the more craftier types. So to me, it's a solid A. Like I said, the sweet spot at 7.3% hits right in that, for just a plain lager style beer. It's refreshing, crisp, clean, but yet it has a little more of the alcohol punch, a little more of the heft, the gravitas, so to speak, and the flavor. If you like the malt forwardness, I think for that, just like your RAB, regular average beer, this is pretty good.
Nice.
Nice.
I gotta say, you described your beer very well. Did a very good review on that beer.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That was awesome.
Nice meeting you tonight.
Nice to meet you too.
So, I think I'm gonna be ending the stream. So I want to thank everybody for joining. I want to thank the folks that we have down in the basement right now. As well, we got Anthony and Eric still down there. We have to come across create another poll. So we're going to do that off air. I do believe I'm going to start up or if one of you guys wants to start up a Google Hangouts, so everybody that was in panel can join at once, so we can do this. I think that'd be a good idea. But yeah, I want to thank everybody that's been on the panel tonight. I want to thank chat, the viewers. Once again, Multi Mondays is 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. on Monday. And the beer that wins the polling, well, first off, the polling is going to be put in sometime shortly after we create it. Hopefully Drunken One's down for that. He's around. We'll try to find him. And we'll put that into all of our Hangouts. I'll also put that in the description of this video. So once it goes up on air, you guys can, if you're not in any of the Hangouts that we have, you can still find the poll in the description of this video. So the polling will end when Wildcard Wednesday ends. That typically is around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays. That's when the polling will end, and whatever beer style that is leading in that poll, I will do my best to find a beer that most people can get out of that style, and then I will put out a video on my channel saying what beer to try to find. So yes, thank you all for joining in and doing this again. It's definitely something that's seems to be growing. We're getting more and more folks that want to join the panel, which is cool. As a host, it does make things more exciting, I'll say. So I just want to appreciate everybody. Thank you all in the chat. Thank the viewers, panel. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate everybody that continues to come back and watch these Multi Mondays. So any shout outs for anybody that we have, let me bring up. I'm going to drop myself out, and then I will come back in right before we end it. But I'm going to bring up Anthony and Eric out of the basement. And if you guys have anything that you want to talk about on your own channel, any upcoming events, stuff like that, now's your time to plug away. So,
Beer and cheese.
So glad he's gone now. Jeez.
Beer and cheese Tuesday.
Jerky beer Thursday.
Drunken One has started a video chat on our Google Hangouts called BuMpY's Poll. When we're done, we all join that.
BuMpY's Poll.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Beer cheese. Maybe I'll bring a beer and a cheese.
So
Yes.
for Beer Man, I'm planning on joining his cheese and beer. I got a great one for that. And dang, I just threw the bag across the room, but I got a great beef jerky and a great beer for the jerky pairings too.
Awesome.
So I'm looking forward to being on your channel a lot this week.
Looking forward to having you there, man. That's great, dude. Cool.
Oh, I'm bleeding. What the hell?
So being home all the time now after work, I'm doing a lot more retro work too. So John and Ellie just can't wait for my next videos to come out. But if you're
I am
into
super sad. I still have
real
to
retro
watch the
stuff,
Capitalize and Brew Day. I haven't watched that one yet.
I gotta see
But yeah,
it
it's
too.
all of the retro, all of the fixer-upper videos with all the old computers and stuff. That just, my gosh, that just makes my
The
life
Commodore.
go.
That's great.
yeah, Commodores, Apples, you name them, man.
Dang.
Have fun.
Some old
Well, I
shit.
don't have anything to plug other than Stout Sunday, which I do every Sunday morning at 10:30 Eastern time. So
Yeah, I'm
That's
trying
all
to
I
get on
got.
that. I got to get on that one too. I got some great
Those are
stouts
fun.
sitting around.
and I've been
Especially
meaning
if
to
you're
join
mountain
Beer Man
time.
for a while. I just always like Wednesday night is like the worst night for me, and then Tuesday night a lot of times I get home late and I don't have time. But with everything going on, I've been getting off at like 3:00, so I might actually have time to join one of your
Cool.
streams soon, Beer Man.
You should. That'd be great. Good to have you there. Hell yeah.
There's nothing like Stout Sunday at 8:30 in the morning with eggs.
Well, that's,
I would like to make that. I'd like to come to that sometime with eggs.
Starts the day off right.
Well,
Nice.
You don't get much more done after that.
well, if we're able to do a little
one other
something-
part. Wednesday at 7:20 Eastern on Ron Ontario's channel, Louisiana Beer Reviews. He's doing the Wildcard Wednesday. However, it's the first Wednesday of the month, so the theme is fruit flavored beer. Any fruit beer.
I definitely won't be
All
there
right,
for
guys,
that.
I'm
I
going to
hate
drop
berries.
out. We'll see y'all later.
Yeah. Well, if we're able to do a little self-promotion, everyone's talking about COVID-19, coronavirus, all that stuff. I did just drop a video today talking about how COVID-19 is devastating the global beer market. It's pretty crazy, but it's also not as bad as you would expect.
Something I've noticed, like it's more or less with like the local brew pubs and stuff. There's a saying about like it's like with the changing of times and everything. People are doing different things, and you have to change. You have to adapt your way of doing things to survive. They are definitely adapting to the change that they've had to go through to try to get their beers out. So there's some positive things happening through this. We're seeing a brewery that hardly ever canning every 2 weeks now. And they don't even have their own cannery. They have a mobile canner that comes in. So they went from doing it like once every month, 2 months, to doing it every 2 weeks. That they're putting out.
I'm very excited, BuMpY.
Yeah.
Tomorrow to get online and see if I can order some of the backyard brewery beers and have them shipped.
Now, what Trish left something in one of the hangouts. I think it was on her and Brandon's hangout thing. That it's a call-in order. So you might have to get on there. I'm not sure if they're doing it like put in your order through a website, or if you have to make a phone call and place an order. But same thing.
But either way, they're shipping across the.
That's what they said. I guess there's still some loopholes they have to get through, but it looks like they're working on that. So yeah, some positive things for sure. But it would be great to just go sit in a freaking restaurant with friends, family, and everything else, and eat.
Yeah. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Somebody said that one, right?
Right. So, everybody check out everybody else's channels if you haven't. Let's do this again. Let's continue to do our social distancing. So we're gonna end the stream. Everybody else, I guess, Drunken One has a Google Hangouts going. For those that I'm not sure where he put it, but Anthony, I'll make sure that you get the link to that as well, in case it's not in something that you're not in. So, cheers, everybody. Have a great night. Fantastic, and let's make a great poll. That's easy for everybody.
Yep. Cheers.
All right. Cheers. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for having